All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday, May 6th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Should be good to go across the trading room. Great to see Jason, Skip, Leda, all of our students joining us here live. Bill says I made it just in time. Yes, you did. Great to see all of our students and as well as members joining us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. As always, welcome on back. Actually, first to begin, I'd like to welcome aboard three of our newest students here at Cyber Trading University. I'd like to welcome aboard as gold students Adam S. We have Joe B. and Audrey B. joining Cyber Trading University today as our newest students. Welcome aboard, everybody. I will say to all of our students, keep in mind, in 2 weeks from today, we'll be continuing our live curriculum, the Phase 1 course beginning with, and we'll continue going into the next few weeks after into the Phase 2 curriculum, Phase 3. We break down our courses into 3 separate phases or modules for Audrey, for Adam, for Joe, our newest students, and alongside them, any of our trial members that are still looking to learn more about what we offer. Please do yourself a favor. Just make sure that you talk to your education advisor. They are here to walk you through everything that you have access to as part of being a student or member of Cyber Trading University. So with that in mind, let's hop right into it. We have the LEDS trade, LEDS, however you may want to kind of nickname it, pronounce it. Not surprising that it ended up dumping off here off this lower high, this, so to say, false breakout from 13. I say that across many reasons. First, it's the first time in which this stock had made a move up to 13 since like 10:45 Eastern this morning. So, typically for the first time a stock is testing or even retesting major resistance in a long while, you would expect for it to make a false break, especially heading into the late morning here, the early to mid afternoon. And with that in mind, though, you take a look at the daily chart for LEDS. This stock in the past, I mean, I can go back more years than this, really, but you could just see the pop and drops over and over and over and over. So to be fair, this might be the biggest, the best run that I've ever seen LEDs make. And at this point now, if it's not breaking higher, be careful. There's only going to be one other way the stock's going to go. I still think it's strong here to see it potentially pop back up. That's a lot of ambiguous words there, which I'm not normally a fan of. But, hey, if this can make its way back over 12, then perhaps there could be more life on the way up. If it not, though, it wouldn't shock me if this tails all the way back down towards 10 or perhaps much lower. So maybe I'll come back to this at the end. If this looks really good going into the end of the meeting, and we'll put this back on our list. Myself and Chuck C, one of our students live inside the cyber group room, I want to go over this trade because for any of us that are that were in the room at that time but not really chatting as much, or rejoining us now and catching back up with the chat board there, you may have saw myself and Chuck really talk and harp on this OCGN trade, and more so than anything, it was the short. Chuck said easy peasy for the most part. For the most part, yes. Really, this whole move was relatively easy. That's dependent upon your prep going into the morning. This was a stock that we were all following across the last week and a half, 2 weeks, last month, last few months, and obviously today, I ended up, putting more focus on this, with this already being on the morning watch list that Fausto put out from earlier. So, going into the open with all of the vaccine talk, the stocks that were down from the news that came out, I'm thinking, hey, this could be a pretty good short opportunity, right? So I ended up waiting. It popped right out the gate after the market opened. I wanted the short from 10. And this is a really good lesson to go through because I didn't short this from 10. There's a reason I didn't short it from 10. It didn't give me an ability to short it from 10 here. It ended up just blasting right over the level. No false break. Moved right back up towards 1050. And I brought this up earlier during our audio broadcast for all of us live inside the room. Quick little free tip of the day for all of us on social media. Fausto says this all the time, and I got it from him. In the sense of a short trade, right? I mean, we can talk about it on the long side, but in the sense of a short, if I liked the stock so much as a short at $10, I got to be drooling over it when it's at 1050. So the exact setup, the move that I was looking for at 10 just came 50 cents higher. I'll take it. Ended up popping right over 1050. I set up a stop limit order to short it only if it were to break back below 1050. Obviously it did, and that was the sweet spot. But myself and Chuck, later into the morning, going into the afternoon, we had our eyes on another big support level. There were a few big levels throughout the day, the 50-cent levels, the whole numbers. And then outside of that, how about the opening bell print this morning right off of $9.62? That was the big 509,000 share transaction that we had on the time in sales right out the gate as soon as the market opens. Think of it this way. What if you saw all of a sudden on the matrix here, level 3, as we nickname it, what if you saw a 500,000 share order on the ask? Would you not respect that? You would have to, right? So, it's to say this. Is it going to become a perfect support or perfect resistance today? No level's perfect. But it's to say if we happen to see patterns repeat over time, then we'll be there to capitalize on it. So I ended up shorting this again later in the morning from 10, got out practically right off the opening print. And then later on, there could have been another opportunity to re-enter when it re-breaks that price. So we had some initial selling interest off the 962 price here at first. And then on the re-break, it led to a huge move, just about, 50, 60 cents on the way down after. Well, hey, what if history repeats itself? What if later on we happen to see more selling coming in as it breaks under this same yellow line? And there were a couple of opportunities that I ended up missing that Chuck ended up getting, and a few of us, otherwise right here. I was like a fraction of a second late to this trade, and I was pretty upset about that because I thought it was going to just drop off and tail down lower right away. Well, I'm glad I'm patient. So this ended up making a move back up. I ended up taking one loss here. I took a 7-cent loss. And then when it came back down on the next test, I jumped back in as a short. Whew, ended up dropping off beautifully. Myself and Chuck, we both covered right around 928, 930-ish. I'm right around there. I got out 930, I think. But hey, for right now, this still looks really interesting just as a short. And then otherwise, if it false breaks under 9, or if it holds a higher low, holds double bottom and moves up, then it could be a good dead cat bounce opportunity. We love trading OCGN for that reason alone. So yeah, right now, I don't mind putting this just on our main list. Chuck says his exit was at 918. There you go. All right, cool. All right, great. So OCGN already on our list. The LEDS not exactly just there yet. What we'll do, we'll just go from top to bottom. We had a couple of pre-market plays that dumped off, like actually this is the warrants. The ALF. Oh, this might even be a different ticker. We had ALF, and there's ALFIW. That might be the warrants for it. This is the one that we ended up trading. I'll go over this quick. Ended up popping, shortly after the market opened. Popped in pre-market, of course, but relatively new symbol. I think it's an IPO, Alfie Inc. common stock. Just relatively newly listed. Last couple days back from Tuesday of this week, but after the pop up within the first 5 minutes, ended up slamming right back down, and unfortunately, that was it. Couldn't short it, so we just moved on. That was it. So, I just brought this up because I think the warrants were number 2 on the gainers list. Just kind of skip over it for right now. All right, so alongside the LEDS trade, you got another wacky stock in this AUVI. I say wacky not only because of this move here, but you remember these tickers in the past. So back in February, we ended up trading this stock from like 10 to, a zillion. Went up to like $35, $37 this day, $35.78. It's great to see, but folks, it's not a swing trade. Not every stock could be the BTX. No, that's BTC. Ooh, I love BTC. BTX. Not every stock could be BTX, and look at this now from where it topped off at, right? This one just had a few days in a row where it was running, but again, it's like a rarity to have that happen as sharp of a squeeze up as you had there. So this stock has been a known pop and drop for us in the past. For right now, I mean, hey, it's still relatively active. It's coiling up, technically making a higher low off like 11-ish, even like 1075, and made a nice pop back up here. I'll put it on our watch list, hence the name watch list there. I'm not necessarily going to trade it, but we'll put this on for right now. If it ends up dumping right back down really shortly from now, then I just move on. MITO, not a whole lot happening here. This also a big dud from today. Ended up actually making a bit of a move. I mean, not only out the gate, the pop, but more so the higher low on the shake. It led to a nice entry afterwards. You could have gotten a lot more out of that than I personally would have expected. Ended up practically just double topping right off here. And then, man, the big drop off after, that's just not what you want to be a part of, at least. But ended up making a nice little trade from the morning. At this point now, we're going to pass, certainly. LQDT, liquid. I don't know. Liquidity SVCS. I don't know. Interesting trade here, though. Nice trend going into the afternoon. My only gripe, if you've been following me here, going into the afternoons, day to day, you would know it's the order book. It's the spread, the liquidity. If this had a penny spread like OCGN had, and big orders at every price level, then this would be at the top of our watch list. But I'd rather follow others first, and then maybe come back to that. Weight Watchers at the high. I think this is still Weight Watchers, WW. Formerly WTW, then WW. I think that's them. BCRX had a nice run all day today, or all morning heading into the afternoon. Ended up making this pop up over 13, dumped back below it, and that seemed to have been it. SSY, oof, ended up just dumping back down over the last, like 10, 15 minutes, if anything, but it was looking really good up until then. It's still making more of an afternoon move more than anything, so we're only at 2 stocks, so I'll put this on our list, I guess, for now. This will make the cut for the meantime, but let's see if we could find even better. I mean, in terms of a trend, a stock that hasn't completely dumped off yet. This one hasn't dumped off yet. This ABEV, this thing is as slow as molasses right now. Geez, I mean, look at the orders that are on the book. I'm asking for even less liquidity here in this example. So it's at the highs. It's certainly level 1. I might even pass on this just for it being so slow. I mean, look at all of the volume this has to break through in order for it to just move up a few pennies. That's a shame, but I'm going to move on from this. LKCO. Maxer ended up making a pretty sneaky move going into the mid-morning. Looks more like lower volume. That's why it was pretty sneaky, it seems. But ended up making a nice pop, roughly from, the bottom here off 28, the breakout over 29 up to 31. And yeah, it still seems relatively active. But again, it's I don't really feel a need to put this on our watch list right now. See if there's anything looking even better, more liquidity, better spread. We'll hop over to the losers list first. I guess market's kind of wonky today altogether. Ended up making a bit of a pop going into the late morning, but pulling back now. Not a whole lot of movement really happening. I know there's a bunch of earnings coming out after the bell today for all of us live inside the trading room, at least. I'll post that up for you at some point when I jump back on the microphone. Ooh, how about this? FSLY dropping off. I would assume earnings based. I will double check just out of curiosity, but for a $42, $41 stock, you're going to get a bit of a spread. And given the liquidity that we see, it's not really too bad. I'll put this on our list for right now, so long as it could be shortable. All right, so FSLY trading lower after the company reported worse than expected Q1 sales results. The company also announced the CFO is stepping down. Doesn't sound too good. But nonetheless, looks like we got a bad result from it. Ended up popping at first, dropping right back down, and obviously with this looking the way it is at the lows, much like we talk about a stock at the highs, you would want to see further continuation. All right, just skimming across the losers list here, folks, seeing if there's any other good shortable stocks for us here. CENX, I think this is an aluminum stock. Yeah. It's at the lows, good spreads. It's just almost too slow right now. Volume traded totally dropped off. Volume traded per minute, like the volume bars here. I'll keep this on the side. VERU. Wow, look at this thing continue to dump off now from yesterday's pop and pre-market. Fausto brought this up during the morning meeting yesterday, just the iceberg orders that were on his level 4, just squeezing this down. Oh my goodness, this thing got beat up again today. And it is shortable, right? So for as much as this stock even dropped, what if this doesn't drop any lower? Is it possible it begins to make a short little squeeze back up? I think so. I don't mind putting this on our list for that reason. See a stock go from 870-ish up to 11 in pre-market, dumped back down and made a complete dump off after that day, dumped another few bucks the following day, as in today. it just has great range up and down here. So I'm sure there's not going to be as much volume traded on it today as there was yesterday, as there is tomorrow, compared to today. But keep this on your side list. I feel like at some point, if not today, then tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next week, but get a nice big move, at some point again on this stock. If you're trading the more expensive stocks, then perhaps you put Etsy on your personal watch list. I mean, hey, nice trend on the way down, shortable, certainly off of bad earnings. I know that. RKT Rocket Mortgage. This is a nice drop from earlier today. Not really making too clean of a trend right now, at least over the last 30 minutes. Good side list stock. Just pass on it for right now. From one of us on YouTube, RJF asking, what about Nikola, a dead cat bounce? Yeah, I mean, that could be a good opportunity as a short if 10 breaks. But if false breaks below and back over 10, then yeah, I mean, dead cat bounce, certainly. But follow the trend first. It's hard to borrow for us on TradeStation, so if you can get the shares to short first, then that's what you should look for. But nonetheless, though, we were watching this off of, what was it even? 1050, but also 1042 in particular. 1042 is the closing bell print from yesterday, so it broke under and over it from earlier. That was a nice dead cat bounce at first, but obviously ran out of steam, ended up just laying over, and the rest was history. So yeah, Nikola. I think Nikola also had earnings from this morning too. So that's the reason why it ended up making the wacky move up, then drop off here today. Bonnie calling out the LEDS. Hey, I said I'd come back to this at the end, right? See if it potentially can make the squeeze right back over 12, and hopefully there could be more life left on this trade. We're not out of the doghouse just yet because it broke over 12. If it dumps right back below 12 here, then you're crap out of luck. So, just be mindful of that. That's all I'm saying. I'm rooting this on for everybody here that's in it. So LEDS, I'll put this back on our list with this push back over 12. Chuck calling out Mara at 60, or 60, geez, not 60, 30. I need new glasses. At 30. Yeah, it's down big. Now, here's my stance on Mara, though. I'll definitely put this on our watch list, and not even in the sense of a short. You'd figure if it's at the lows of the day that it's definitely going to be a good short opportunity, but I think there's much better opportunity for a dead cat bounce on Mara and Riot than anything else. And I say that just, hey, folks, if you've been with me here in the afternoons on the broadcasts, we talk about these stocks often, not every day, but with Bitcoin in particular, Bitcoin's been dropping off. Here's my hourly chart. Ended up dropping off practically early on, from pre-market 8 o'clock. It's been making a bit of a move down. If anything, I think it's really the last 20 minutes. Yeah, 15 to 30 minutes. It made a much sharper drop. So that's why you're seeing continuation on Mara for the meantime, and alongside that, Riot. But my stance on these trades based on Bitcoin itself going into this time of the day. When we see Mara and Riot at the highs, they rarely, if ever at all, I don't think they've ever really truly ran. I mean, maybe they ended up closing higher, but we're looking for a big, beautiful run acceleration. On the way down, you'd think the same thing, but if we don't really see continuation in their respective trends going into the next hour here, if we normally don't, if ever at all, then wouldn't you think this would be a dead cat bounce opportunity? That's why I would say for Mara, at least, I'll put this on the list. I think Mara has better spreads. Yeah, better liquidity on the book, definitely, for this. And Chuck says, I'm in from 30.18 long in the money right now. Nice, looking good. All right, so from our good friend Mitch on YouTube asking about CLOV short, down 7+%. It is shortable. It's one that I'll say if you did really well on it from like last week, then follow it. But it started to slow down this week, and I think at the end of last, so it became a lot choppier of a trade. It certainly looks good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, hey, if you could short it here and drop it down to 8, that'd be a nice trade. But I think for right now, I like the list that we have between OCGN, between even the Mara trade, Mara and Rudd, with the way they're trending at this point in the afternoon. I said it yesterday, I think, in the chat board. If Mara and Rudd are down or up big and are at the highs or lows respectively, I'll put them on the list expecting the counter trend move. So we're already starting to see it here. The SSY here still at this point, just given the afternoon move that it made, I'll keep this on our list, but certainly not in the best position compared to some of the others. All right, folks, if there's anything else that you folks see up, down, left, right, more than like 5%, type it in the chat board here. Let me know. That LEDS is trying to push. I'll tell you, I don't see much else on my end. All right, so I think that we'll call it, folks. I think we got in total 2, 4, 6, 8 stocks to work with so far heading into the afternoon. Hey, if there's anything else that makes a respective move that's worth our opportunity in time, then we'll look to call it out. What I mean by that is if you're looking at a stock, it's like just like not really making as clean or sharp of a move as you would want it to make, and you're just more hopeful than anything. If you're unsure, then you're sure. Means that you know what to do. You know to likely just move on from it, follow a better trade, or look back in the trading room, see if there's anything else that we're calling out at that point, and go from there. All right, folks. So for all of us on social media, third reminder regarding this, I'll keep reminding us up until, but for all of us on social media, we typically do this maybe 2 or 3 times across the calendar year, our weekly Traders Talk workshop. It will be simulcasted, not just live inside our trading room going into next Tuesday, but it will be available live on our YouTube stream. So make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, that being youtube.com/cybertradingyou. Otherwise, feel more than free to go right down to the link on the banner below just to sign up for our trading room itself there and join us live for this afternoon. All right, so keep that in mind for all of us live inside there right now. I'm going to jump off the mic. I'll post and tweet the picks though first, and then I'll be back on the mic coming up at 3:30, taking us going into the final 30. Take care.